What up guys, today we are playing some Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, and in today's video I'm going to be giving you guys a guide on a starter melee build. So if you're new to the game and you're creating your first character or one of your first characters, and you need some help figuring out how exactly to build your character, today I'm going to show you guys how to build a melee character, what the best races, attributes, signs, things like that are, and of course some tips and tricks on getting started in the world once we do build our character. So anyways, without further ado, let's get started with our melee build. So first things first, we've got our race selection. Now right off the bat, Dark Elf is a pretty good all-around race. You know, they've got some long blade, but they've also got some marksman, some light armor, some destruction, some athletics. They're like half decent for most builds you're gonna do, but if you're trying to do something a little bit more melee specific, there are a few better options. Imperials, first of all, they've got +10 in long blade, they've got some blunt weapon, they're also light armor again, which is pretty interesting. I would have expected heavy armor from an Imperial, but whatever. They're not like super optimized for a melee build, but they do have some bonuses to long blade and blunt weapons, so you have a little bit of weapon bonus right off the bat. Another good one is Nord, which makes sense. We've got some long blade, we've got some heavy armor, we've also got medium armor, which seems a little bit redundant. We've got spears, we've got blunt weapons, we've got axe. Literally all of this is a melee related skill. Spear, medium armor, long blade, heavy. They're all melee combat related skills, so this is a good option if any of these tickle your fancy. Nords are also one of the taller races, so as far as maximum speed goes, Nords are going to have one of the highest maximum speeds since your speed is relative to your height in this game. Another one we've got is the Orc, which has armor, which comes in handy if you're a melee build because you can fix your own armor. We've got heavy armor and medium armor again, which again a little bit redundant, but then we've got block and axe. Overall, a pretty good build. He's also got Berserk, which I believe you can only cast once a day if I remember correctly. But yeah, this will fortify your health, fatigue, and attack by quite a bit for 60 seconds, which is enough for most fights, honestly. But it also drains your agility by 100 points. So it's worth noting that when you're using Berserk, because it drains your agility so much, you're extremely likely to get knocked down and like winded, I guess is what you would call it. You get hit and your character kneels down and has to take a little bit of a breather before he can get back up and fight again. Last but not least, we've got Redguard, which is actually what we're going to be going with today. But they've got a +15 to long blade, which for me, I prefer long blades in this game, so that's kind of what I'm going to be going with. He's good with heavy armor and medium armor, which is nice. He's got blunt weapon, he's got axe, and he's got athletics, which is really good because anything that gives you more speed in this game is always nice because you start out really slow in this game. But anyways, yeah, we're going to be going with Redguard, mostly just for the long blade. If you don't want to use a long blade, you might want to choose a different race. So like if you wanted to do axes or something, might be worth going with Nord. But for me, long blade is usually the best way to go. There's just, I feel like a lot more variety with long blade weapons, so I usually stick with the long blades. Good old tried and true. Gives us a choice between heavy and medium armor, which is really nice. All right, so here we are, shiny new Redguard, and it's time to choose our class and our star sign, things like that. So there are a few ways you can do this, but honestly, creating a custom class is the best way to do it. Answering his questions, I don't even know why this exists. This option just straight up shouldn't exist. It sucks. Giving him the info, picking a class from a list is half decent, but there's a pretty good chance that whatever class from the list you pick isn't like perfectly optimized for what you want. Like there's probably going to be at least one or two things you're going to want to change about every single class on that list. So you might as well just make it yourself. It makes things a lot easier, honestly. It seems kind of intimidating at first, but it's really not. It's pretty simple. Specialization is pretty straightforward. If you're going to be a melee build, you should go with combat. If you're going to be a magic build, you should go with magic. If you're going to be a stealth build, you should go with stealth. Specialization adds +5 to all of those skills, so that's really important for something like if you want to be a melee person, you're probably going to want combat so that all these things can have +5. Favorite attributes, I usually go with either strength and endurance or strength and speed. It just depends on how much I think I'm going to be hurting on speed. I tend to lean towards endurance though, because the more endurance you start with, the more health you start with, and of course the more endurance you have, the more health you gain per level as well. So the thing about endurance is that because it affects your health gain per level, the sooner you get it higher, the better, right? So it's like a compounding thing. If you keep your endurance low for multiple levels, your health increases per level is not optimized, right? So you want to like get your endurance maxed out pretty much as soon as you can so that every level you're getting a full 10 hit points. But anyways, there's our attributes. We got skills, which is also a pretty easy one. I usually start with whatever I'm going to be using as a weapon. Long blade, easy. Then I'll move on to either medium or heavy armor, depending on which one I'm feeling. I'm probably going to do medium armor because that's what I usually go with. I think medium armor is a pretty good choice choice for a beginner in this game because it kind of like splits the difference between heavy and light armor, first of all. So it's a good middle ground, like weight wise or whatever. You get decent armor capabilities, but at the same time, it doesn't weigh too much like heavy armor would. So medium armor is really nice. There aren't a whole lot of options available, but in my opinion, the early game medium options are a lot better than the early game light or heavy armor options. Like if you just get yourself a full bone mold set, that's going to be better than like the majority of what you're going to find for a while. So we've got our 2 essentials, long blade, medium armor. I like to do athletics and acrobatics as major skills just so they start as high as possible, which affects your movement speed, makes things a lot better. Now this part things start to get interesting because it's like, now what, right? Armor is a pretty good one to throw on there because the higher you have that, the less repair hammers you're going to use trying to fix your stuff up. So if you're going to use armor, might as well put it up there if you're running out of options here. And then here I like to do mercantile and speechcraft just because those help you out around the world. The way I look at it is that you have like utility spells and then you have like your main core spells, right? So your main core spells are going to be like, what kind of weapon do you want? What kind of armor do you want? And then you might as well make yourself faster while you're at it, right? Armorer is a pretty good skill to have just for fixing stuff up. Might as well put that as a major skill if you're kind of running out of options there. Minor skills I like to fill with as much utility as I can. So mercantile, speechcraft. We're going to throw security in there. We're going to throw sneak in there. Those are all like the utilities I really would want in here. You have 2 options when it comes to alchemy. So you're going to be really confused about alchemy until we get a little bit further in the video. So you can either put alchemy as a minor skill so that using alchemy, you can use it to level up your character level as well, which is kind of useful sometimes. Or you could set it to a miscellaneous skill so that when you're doing alchemy, you don't gain any character levels and you can just kind of utilize the money made from alchemy. If you see something else you might want, like restoration can be pretty useful, I guess. If you're not going to be using your magic for anything else, you might as well use it as like a reserve tank for your health, basically. We might just choose restoration because that's not a bad idea at all. And then the alchemy will just be used as a miscellaneous skill, which is fine. All right, and last but not least, we have our star sign, which only really a few of them make sense for a melee build. First things first, you got the warrior, which fortifies attack 10 points. I used to think this was just like it fortified your damage by 10 points, but your attack is slightly different than your damage. I think this kind of just affects how likely you are to hit a target, which is definitely good. I think one of the things people struggle with the most as a new player is hitting targets. So something like fortify attack 10 points is really going to help with that. Another good one is the steed. I like to consider the steed for pretty much any build just because it fortifies your speed by 25 points. And again, one of my biggest gripes with this game is going to be the speed you start out with. So I will often choose just whatever I can to start my speed a little bit higher. Because while your star sign is pretty useful, it's not like a super make or break thing for the most part unless you choose something like the Atronak, which makes it so you can't replenish magicka. Not really related to a melee build, but other than the Atronak, pretty much there aren't a whole lot of consequences to any of these star signs, and so anything it does give you, you could pretty much make up for with like spells or potions later on. You shouldn't stress out about this too much is basically what I'm saying. The lover's also a pretty good one. Fortify agility can be pretty useful in combat as well. Warrior, steed, and lover are probably going to be your best bet. I would suggest you guys go with the warrior, but personally I'm going to go with the steed just so I'm a little bit faster and this video is made a little bit faster. But personally I would recommend the warrior for a beginner player, especially just so that you have that extra attack bonus, and it's really going to come in handy for hitting targets. I have heard people say the fortify agility increases your hit rate more than the 10 attack does. This is not true. If you look at the equations, because they have all this stuff listed on the unofficial Elder Scrolls pages, if you look at the actual equations for like attack percentage, this one does actually give you more percentage to hit than the 25 agility does. I've had people try to tell me the opposite, and it's just not true. I've ran the equations. This is better by like a few percent. Highly recommend the warrior. I'm gonna go with the steed just so I walk faster, but honestly either one's a pretty good choice. Anyways, first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna take your papers, and then you're gonna want to take this limeware platter simply just because it's worth 650 gold, which is pretty good deal. You can't just take it normally, because if you take it you're gonna get caught for stealing. But luckily, because you're still an immigrant that hasn't been released into Morrowind yet, for some reason you're allowed to just steal stuff and get away with it. They will confiscate any stolen goods though, so you have to drop this on the ground before the guard catches you. If you're on the Xbox, it's a little bit trickier because you have to grab the item and then go into your inventory. The PC, you can just go into your inventory and you can actually grab it and set it down from here while the game is technically paused still. For the sake of this video, I'm going to show you guys how to do it the Xbox way. So you want to grab it like this, go into your inventory and drop it like that, yeah? And then so he'll talk to you, be like, oh, if you do stuff like that when you get released, you'll be arrested. And then now you can take this, and because it's already been stolen and dropped, it doesn't count as stealing the second time you pick it up. If you're on PC, you can just grab it like this, which makes the process a lot easier, because then you don't have to pause while the guard is running at you and try to make it out of there in time or whatever. Now, typically, I would just grab everything on all these shelves and sell it, but there's honestly a much faster way to get money at the beginning of the game, so it's honestly worth skipping all this crap. Maybe the Flynn, actually. Grab the Flynn for sure. Yeah, it's all just kind of a pain in the ass to sell and just not exactly worth it. But that bottle of Flynn is worth a decent amount and can be sold where we're going, so might as well take it. Gotta grab the engraved ring of healing, because for some reason it won't let you continue unless you do that. I guess it's just for the magic tutorial. And then before we move any further here, we're gonna have to drop everything we've stolen. I usually just drop everything, because it's hard to keep track of what's stolen, usually. We're about to steal something else using the same method, and you want to have everything dropped, otherwise any of your stolen goods will get confiscated when he talks to you. Now, if you're on PC, you're in luck, because it makes this quite a bit easier, because the thing we need to steal is literally right behind this guy. You know, if you're on PC, you can just pick up this warehouse key and drop it, which, by the way, we're trying to steal this warehouse key. If you're on Xbox, you're going to have a little bit of a struggle trying to do this. If you are worried about this guy turning around and grabbing you, what you can do is you can steal the silver candlestick first. He'll run over here, and he walks all the way back. It did kind of actually move him a little bit. If you're on Xbox, you're going to have to be really, really quick about this. You're going to have to grab it and then go into your inventory, like, immediately. Ooh, that was so quick. And we're going to... See, that was like literally like a split second. Like, oof, you got to do that quick, bro. That's basically what I'm saying. But we're going to grab that warehouse key. Should be good. Do we have anything actually down here? Sujamma. Oh, shit. If you guys don't know about Sujamma, it's actually like a pretty powerful potion that boosts your strength. So, might be something worth keeping. Anyways, that's enough mumbling. Those are all the things we're going to get. The Sujamma and the maze were kind of secondary on my list. But yeah, as far as like the Flynn and the limeware platter and the warehouse key goes, that's about all you really need at this point. Talk to him about our duties in Morrowind. He gives us a little bit of cash, which is good because we're going to need that to travel here. But before we go out and travel, we're going to go in here. This is the warehouse that the key is for. And you'll notice you have this guy wandering about. You're basically going to have to wait for this guy to do his rounds and then head back up this way before you start stealing stuff. But it is what it is. Sometimes waiting an hour is enough to do it. But anyways, while he's all distracted like that, we're going to go in here. Now, it's worth noting, there is armor you can steal, and I do have the strength to steal it, so I think I am going to steal all this stuff. This is heavy armor, though, and it's like pretty half-decent heavy armor. The Imperial Steel armor is going to be one of the better heavy armor sets you can get immediately off the bat, so if you're running a heavy armor build, these can be good for just wearing, obviously. There's also some weapons in here, but the main thing that we're here for, actually, is the moon sugar, as well as some bottles of skooma upstairs, so we're going to take any moon sugar especially we see, but then any of these armor or weapons we're going to take as well. If you're a melee build, it's going to be a little bit more sensical to do because you're going to have more strength, which means you have more carry capacity, so it's not going to make as much of a difference, but for other builds it will. So for other builds, you're probably not going to want to do this because it'll just fill up your inventory too quickly. And so you could just skip all the armor and weapons and take the moon sugar if you really wanted to, because that's going to be where the bulk of the money comes in, is selling the moon sugar and skooma. So if you ain't got room for the armor, it's not a big deal. You might as well just skip it. That's all. You can also steal like literally everything and sell literally everything. It's just, it takes a little bit longer and it doesn't give you a whole lot of extra cash. But yeah, that's all the stuff we need to steal, literally. And if you really wanted to do something else, you could sell this book that's in here. There's a decent book in here, the Race Wedding Dowry. It's a $300 book. It also gives you some unarmored skill, which is nice. And that was a thing of grief you might as well take too. Now, unfortunately, you're pretty much going to have to sell this book to Arisle. So the thing about moon sugar and skooma is that nobody's going to trade with you if you have it in your inventory. So you actually got to take it out of your inventory to trade with normal people. But we are going to be solving that problem here pretty quickly. The only thing we're going to be selling here is the wedding dowry thingy. So now we're ready to skedaddle. A couple of those steps were pretty extra. Honestly, you can just grab the moon sugar and the skooma and just get out of there. That's really the main portion of all that jazz, as well as the limeware platter. But the limeware platter we can sell somewhere else, so we're gonna sell it somewhere else. First, we're gonna go to Balmora, and in Balmora, there's actually, I think, a couple people that you can sell moon sugar to, but the quickest one to get to is probably the Revere trader here. There is also Ajira, I think her name is, in the Mages Guild. If you are a member of the Mages Guild and you have a good disposition with her, you'll get slightly better deals on the moon sugar, but you know, it's still good enough. So you're gonna sell them the 24 moon sugar. Might be able to get a better deal on that, we'll see. Nice, 450. pretty good deal. And that's all we need him for, is just selling the moon sugar. You can sell the skooma to him, but there's somebody else we can sell skooma to that'll give us a much better deal. So we're actually going to go to the Mages Guild first, which is interesting for a melee build. We're not going to the Fighters Guild first. We're going to the Mages Guild. And by the way, this is Ajira here, so she's the other person you could sell moon sugar to if you wanted to. Yeah, we're going to go to the Caldera Guild of Mages, and we are going to sell a bunch of stuff. So this is where the real money making comes in. And yeah, we haven't really done anything super melee related yet, but honestly, first part of this game is just kind of getting your stuff together, getting yourself some money, getting some armor and weapons, that sort of thing. So worth noting, we do actually have an Imperial broadsword that we could be using right now, but we could also just buy a better weapon right now too at this point. Yeah, we're gonna sell Limeware Platter, and you'll notice he actually gives us maximum gold for anything we sell him. So this guy's name is the Creeper. He is a strange creature merchant in Caldera who is going to be very instrumental to selling items in this game. He has a maximum gold capacity of 5,000, which is super useful as well, but the main thing is that he buys everything for maximum value, which is just super clutch in this game. So anyways, Limeware Platter 650, and the 2 bottles of skooma brings it up to 1650, so that's a lot of money just for those 2 items right there. And just between the skooma, the moon sugar, and the Limeware Platter, we've got 2100 gold that took almost 0 time to get. And bada bing bada boom, we've got an extra 2560 right there. And we're not even done yet. It actually gets even better than that. So if you walk right up these stairs and you look in this crate, you'll notice it's just kind of full of orcish armor, which, now that I think about it, is actually medium armor, and is actually one of the better medium armor sets in the game. So you actually have 2 options here if you're a medium armor person. You could either sell this stuff for a nifty profit, or you could just wear it, because yeah, that's actually better than bone mold now that I'm thinking about it. This whole set of armor will sell for 6,400 gold. I think I'm gonna hold on to it this time though, because like I said, that makes pretty good medium armor if you're a medium armor build. And I kind of honestly forgot it was medium armor. I was thinking it was heavy armor, and that if you're a heavy armor build, it would be good. But apparently if you're medium armor build, it's good. So I kind of suggest doing that too, because that's going to be some of the better medium armor you're going to find for a while. If you do need the 6,500, you could sell it, but I'm going to show you guys an easier way to get money without having to sell items that you might potentially want. So we're going to go back into the Caldera Guild of Mages, and we're going to go up these stairs, and up here you're going to find yourself a Master Alchemy set that's just completely free to steal. Now you are still stealing it, but it is still free, so you get the best alchemy set in the game without having to pay any money for it. Do not try to sell it back to this guy, because he will be very mad that you stole his alchemy set. So what we're going to do is we're going to make some potions, and there's some very select ingredients here that we're going to be choosing. People who sell alchemy ingredients, most of their ingredients do not replenish, but there will be 1 or 2 ingredients per trader that have an infinitely replenishing supply. This trader happens to have 2 that have effects that match each other. These both have water walking, the Ampoule Pod and the Violet Copperness, and they also both happen to be replenishing stocks. So you'll see here that we'll buy 5 of these, and when we go back in, he's going to have 5 more magically. But where things get interesting here, if you sell back to him, it'll permanently change his stack size. So you'll see it's 5 and 5 for the Ampoule Pod and the Violet Copperness. If I sell 10 of them, he will have 15 actually. And this 15 number will be the new number that replenishes. So now we can buy 15 at a time. And when I go back in, he's got 15. So we can keep doing this back and forth until he has a pretty respectable supply. So we don't have to, you know, buy him 5 at a time or whatever. So now he's got a 180 stack, which is far more than 5. That is a lot more than 5. But yeah, basically you're just going to be making massive amounts of potions in bulk. Now this first round of potions is probably not going to be worth a whole lot of money, but essentially the more you do this, the more expensive your potions get as you gain alchemy levels. As your alchemy levels increase, the strength of your potions increase, which increases the price of your potions. So it's kind of just an exponential gain, honestly, until eventually you're selling potions that are worth hundreds or maybe even thousands each. I want to make a note that we started with probably about 5 alchemy, and now we have 17 alchemy, which is crazy. If we had this as a minor or a major skill, we would have gained at least 1 character level doing that, but because we made it a miscellaneous skill, we're not gaining any character levels doing that, which if all you're trying to do is make money, is kind of the better way to go about doing it, because you can just make a whole lot more of these at a time without having to stop to level up your character. But anyways, you will see that these go into individual stacks, because with every level up, the potions get a little bit stronger and a little bit stronger, because it's like 7 seconds, then it's 8 seconds. Well, they just continually get stronger as you become better at alchemy. I am actually kind of surprised that I made 2 grand. That's way better than I expected. Next round of potions is going to be way better than that, and then we're only going to do 1 more round of potions because I'm not really trying to spend all day here doing potions. I think as far as getting 100 alchemy goes, it might take like, I don't know, 30 minutes or so probably. So you can see that brought our alchemy up to 32. So this is actually like pretty quick. You gotta consider we started at 5 and now we're at 32 alchemy after 2 rounds of doing that. You could very easily hit 100 alchemy in like 20-30 minutes doing this. Anyways, we wait 24 hours to replenish his gold, and then we've got more potions to sell him, so let's do that. And I think we're actually at the point where we have more potions to sell him than he has money to buy them. So yeah, we're making real money now at this point. We're gonna chill out with that for a bit, and we're gonna go back to Balmora. We're gonna go back to Balmora, and we're gonna go into the armorer here. Orcish is about twice as good as bone mold. Originally I was gonna suggest a full bone mold set, but honestly with the Orcish you might as well wear as much Orcish as you can. So we're gonna fill in the blanks here a bit with some bone mold. I think we can afford the Drow helm, so that's nice. We're gonna get the Drow helm and the Drow shield. That is a outfit only a mother could love for sure. Good God. And you may be wondering, what about a weapon? I saw you buy armor, but I didn't see you buy a weapon. I want to show you guys where we're getting our weapon now, which is going to be really, really confusing at first, but everything will make sense here shortly. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to exit Balmora from the southern gate here, follow the river all the way to that bridge right there. Once we get to the bridge, we are going to cross the bridge, and we're basically going to look forward and keep walking straight. The thing we're looking for is pretty much exactly in front of this bridge. It's a little bit exactly in front. It's a little bit to the right. What we're looking for is this cave right here. So this cave is called the Vasir de Daunt Cave. It is an ebony mine, I believe. But basically what you want to do is you just want to enter it and then exit it, and that will have quote unquote discovered the cave. And once you've discovered the cave, it's time to tell somebody about your discovery. And we're going to tell a very specific person about this discovery. But first we got to head back to Balmora. So from Balmora, we're going to go back to the Mages Guild. But before we do, we're looking for something. We're going to get ourselves a scroll of Ondusi's Unhinging. We're actually going to get 2 of them, because why not? We're going to go back to the guild teleporter, and we're going to take it to Vivek. But anyways, once you get down into Vivek here, you're going to be trying to get to the Saint... I want to say it's St. Olms, whichever one this one is. The one that's like to the left of the Temple District. Not this one, but the one across from it. Yeah, it's the St. Deln. So the St. Olms Canton is the one you want, which is this one here. And you're going to go all the way up to the top floor. So for a little bit of context, there is a Hlalu house quest where they want you to discover the location of that Vasir de Daunt cave. And there's like 3 different like Hlalu counselors or whatever that you can report your findings to. But one of them, who's hiding in this St. Olms Haunted Manor here, he actually gives you a really, really good prize for finding it. The other ones give you pretty lackluster prizes, honestly. But this guy actually gives you like the shiznit, bro. So what we're going to do is we're going to bust out our Scroll of Unhinging here. Really going to take 2, huh? That's crazy. I didn't think we'd have to reload, actually. There we go. Took 3 tries, but we did it. Once you're in here, it's this door here, I believe. Yeah, you go in here, and you're going to talk to Dram Barrow, and you're going to tell him about the Vasir de... Oh, it's Didonat, not Dedant. The Vasir Didonat mine. You're going to tell him the location, and then he asks you, what type of weapon do you use? So now at this point, you get your choice of weapons. Obviously, I'm going to go with Longblade, because I chose Longblade as a major skill, but you know, if you're using Blunt, you're going to want to choose Blunt. If you're using Axe, you're going to want to choose Axe, etc. And what you'll notice is that he just gave me a Daedric Katana. Yeah, he just gave me like the end game longsword, basically, for doing essentially nothing. All of those weapon options are Daedric weapons. You can get a Daedric bow, Daedric Axe, Daedric Katana. He just gives you a Daedric weapon right off the bat, as long as you find that cave. You don't even have to be part of the House Hlalu. You just have to find that cave and then find this guy, and he will give you a Daedric weapon, which is pretty crazy. Because not only is that just like 50,000 gold worth of value that you just get, but it's also just straight up the best longsword in the game. At least one-handed, right? So anyways, now that we have all of our equipment, our build is more or less complete, but there are still a few little things here and there that I want to show you guys. But for the most part, you should be ready to go into the world and tackle some enemies. Before we do that though, we should go to the Guild of Fighters and just kind of join up. We're going to join the Fighters Guild, sign me up. This does give us access to the Fighters Guild equipment chest, which is pretty damn handy for a beginner player. You get basically an unlimited supply of everything in these chests, because every Fighters Guild in the game, I think there's like 5 of them. Every single one of them is going to have this chest with the same contents. You're going to have some health potions, some fatigue potions, and some armorer's hammers, as well as a little bit of ammo if you're doing any marksmanship. And then this stuff replenishes every week, so yeah, you basically have a limitless supply of armorer's hammers, health potions, and fatigue potions, which, yeah, pretty instrumental to playing this game, seeing as how your armor and weapon are going to get damaged. You're going to need that eventually. And yeah, you know, you're gonna lose some health here and there, so you're gonna need that eventually too. Aside from that, another good thing to do here, which ties in with the alchemy exploit for money, is once you've gotten yourself a nice stack of money, you can actually come here and start training your skills to make yourself a little bit better at what you do, right? The point being, you can basically endlessly train your skills once you have enough money to do so. And that's pretty much it. You're basically ready to go out into the world at this point. You've got your armor, you've got your weapon, a decent stack of money to do some training with, but even still, you shouldn't need too much training right off the bat. Oh wow, yeah, no, this thing does some damage, that's for sure. So yeah, as you can see here, just having that weapon really does make all the difference in the world. I would have been stuck fighting these guys forever if I didn't have a Daedric katana, so just the Daedric katana alone is a pretty good deal. If you were struggling with this game before, hopefully you aren't struggling now. It's of course a lot easier than it seems to get yourself to a point where you can not only kill like mud crabs and rats, which people struggle with, but get to the point where you can just straight up attack a guard at like level 2. And not have any problems doing it. So again, hope somebody found this guide useful. It's a pretty good way to start out as a melee character. You get yourself a nice bankroll going, you get yourself some nice armor and weapons, and yeah, there's not really much you can do wrong after that point. So if you've been struggling, again, hopefully you're not struggling anymore. Hope you guys found the video useful. If you did find this video useful, make sure to slap that like button. I definitely find that useful. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out. That's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, show the algorithm some love and hit that like button for me. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already to stay up to date on all my latest gaming content. Of course, for as little as 99 cents a month, you can become a channel member and help support the channel monetarily. On that note, I'd like to give a special shout out to my active channel members. Thank you all for your continued support. It is definitely greatly appreciated, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.